explosives and to neutralize those explosives. They've been tweeting on other things as well, also confirming that this is a singular incident on the Champs-Elysees. The shooting, I guess, trying to indicate that there are no other shootings at
because that would be the fear, wouldn't it? That
exactly.
was one in a chain of events that was about to happen.
Again, 2015.
That terror aspect, yeah.
Exactly. Again, bringing up painful memories of 2015 and those multiple attacks. So the Interior Ministry giving some good information and trying to direct the narrative right now. Again, I want to show you some of these. The Interior Ministry actually did say there would be a vigil or a commemorance ceremony for the slain policemen, noting that they only mention one policeman who has been killed. They make no mention of the fate of the second policeman, just saying he's injured.
Just to recap for you, because you brought it up, the Interior Ministry says one police officer is dead, 2 seriously wounded.
That's right, and that's what the Interior Ministry is sticking to. People on Twitter, of course, sending out their condolences to the family and close friends and colleagues, I guess, of the slain policemen, and people saying, will it never end? This person here saying, shooting on the Champs-Elysees, will it never end? I think a question many people are asking.
Many people have, isn't it? Obviously.
Absolutely, and of course, pray for the world, hashtag that some people are using to express their emotions as well.
Laura, thank you very much indeed. The situation, if you're just joining us, is this. A shooting on the Champs-Elysees earlier. One police officer has been killed, according to the Interior Ministry. And that's the source that we are going with here at France 24, the official source from the French government. The Interior Ministry, of course, responsible for the police force. 1 police officer dead, 2 police officers seriously wounded. We understand that the assailant pulled up in a car on the Champs-Elysees, got out of the car and turned his gun on a police vehicle, killing 1 officer, wounding 2. That assailant was then set upon by other police officers who shot him dead at the scene, and his accomplice is now at large. We don't know any more about that person for now, but we do know a major police operation, and you can see it in the images that we're showing you. A major police operation currently underway in and around the Champs-Elysees here in Paris. Let's take a listen to someone who saw the events as they unfolded.
There was a police truck and the man arrived in an Audi A80. He parked it just behind the truck. He got out with a Kalashnikov. I heard 6 shots. I thought they were firecrackers. We all watched. He was hiding behind a truck. He was shooting at the police. He hit a police officer and the policeman opened the door. We then went running into a shop. We went upstairs to the first floor and there we saw him gunned down. He came out with a Kalashnikov. He started firing. He would have targeted us on the pavement and killed more people, but he targeted the policeman and the policeman shot him down.
After the first gunshots, people were running everywhere down the avenue. People ran into the shop in panic, including a terrified little boy. People were just running everywhere. The security services arrived little by little. They're still there. I've never seen so many police officers as I have today.
Chilling eyewitness testimony there, which really brings home the full horror of what has unfolded on one of the great streets of the world, the Champs-Elysees here in Paris. Tonight, as you can see, in lockdown, a major police and security operation is underway. 1 police officer dead, 2 seriously wounded. The assailant killed at the scene. Douglas, tell us more about that assailant.
Well, no, what we've heard from the police sources, once again, saying that, depending on 1 or more attackers, one presumably on the run as of this hour, but at least one of those attackers was on the police radar. In France, there is a database. In French, it's called the S database.
Fiche S.
Fiche S, exactly. And it's a growing database, in fact, and it's individuals who have been, for whatever reason in their past, tagged as people to watch. people who potentially are susceptible to being either radicalized or committing some sort of act. But if you're a fiché S, it usually means that you are someone that police have been watching. So this was not someone totally unknown. Another reason perhaps that they so quickly moved to open this as a counter-terror investigation. This wasn't just someone who turned up blank when the police did their initial searches.
This is clearly going to become a major political issue. What's been interesting, I think, so far from the politicians is that no one has sought to take any advantage from this. I think that is a very wise political move.
Well, not immediately.
A very dignified move too.
However, I will qualify that by saying that certain candidates have very much played on security and especially the terror issues. Marine Le Pen, it's very interesting. The most prestigious police unit in France, it's the gendarmerie, and they have the overall gendarmerie, according to a recent poll, a majority of them said they were supporting Marine Le Pen, precisely because she believed that she had a very firm policy with respect to security, with supporting the police, with supporting a strong police force. And there's one particular, these were the armed police, but a more sort of heavily armed police unit within the gendarmerie, and there the support for Marine Le Pen, the far-right candidate, was about 65% in a recent poll. So among the candidates, she is definitely at least perceived among the security forces as someone who's been perhaps the hardest on the law and order agenda, the hardest line, and she definitely has the support of the law enforcement, according to these polls, whatever the polls are worth these days.
Indeed, it's hard to really throw all your trust and faith behind an opinion poll, but then again, I think it's certainly I've discovered from my dealings with the police and some officers that I know personally, certainly they have a lot of feeling for the policies of the National Front, and clearly this is something that Marine Le Pen were looking to,
and
in a legitimate way perhaps, or not perhaps, cash in on it.
Capitalizing on a sense there's been a reported in this country sense among a lot of the police of it's almost, I hate to put it this way, a terror fatigue, in the sense that we were talking earlier about this heightened state of vigilance which has been in effect right now for nearly 2 years, and it's the Vigipirate program, and it has involved the deployment not just in Paris but across major cities, across monuments, across schools, hospitals, public sites across France, of thousands of soldiers, thousands of extra police, and they are on patrol all the time. Anyone who lives in Paris sees them patrolling quite frequently, and there's been a sense among the police that they, even with the beefed up numbers, that they are stretched very, very thin. So any politician who's been able to sort of tap in to that sense of the police being a little overwhelmed, the police really getting the brunt of all of this, and it's a never-ending challenge here. It hasn't gone away. It's not going away anytime soon. Marine Le Pen has been able to sort of, if you want, tap into that sense, has been able to speak to that sense, to that sense of both anxiety, both fatigue within the police force. So politically, you could say it's been effective, as I said before, of those polls showing that she has really the support of the police there. But in another sense, it also is it's prime material for candidates who do want to also, you could say, exploit this heightened sense of anxiety among the French. Not necessarily panic, but a sense of constant anxiety. People are fearful. People are walking around a little expectant. It's easy to feed into that.
Indeed. It makes you sadly look at your neighbour in a different way, doesn't it? Which is precisely what the terrorists, I think, wanted to achieve. Douglas Vermont, thank you very much indeed. Just